Good evening, wind ensemble and chamber orchestra members. Welcome to the final project for distance learning for 2020, our spring semester here. It's been great to hear all of your work individually and through your playing assignments and your music projects and for the last month. And what we're going to do right now is we're going to start to put a lot of those skills together and work collaboratively. Okay? So here's how it's going to work. Using Flat.io, each group of 3 students will collaboratively compose, edit, and produce a trio that is around 30 to 45 seconds in length. The composition prompts, we'll talk about those later. But right now, let's talk about the timeline. For the first week of May 4th, we're just going to basically do some planning. You're going to establish the roles, we're going to establish some group norms, and just make sure we're all good to go before we delve into the process. For the second week, May 11th, that is when you're going to be working primarily on composing and arranging the piece. May 18th, you're going to focus on recording and rehearsing and making sure all the recordings are set and each person in your group has done a nice job recording their parts. The final week of May 25th, you're going to make sure that you're going to edit the slide in our class recital, which is basically we're going to have a virtual recital watch party from 1 to 2 p.m. on Google Meet, where we'll be able to go through all of the work from each of the groups, and you'll be able to hear and see the work that has been done by your classmates, just like we would have done in a normal recital, except we'll just be in our own homes, okay? So let's walk you through how the project will work. First of all, there's going to be 3 people in each group, which means there are 3 roles. The first role is the composer. The role of the composer is, of course, to take direction from the group members and craft a piece that's playable and meets the artistic goals of either of the composition prompts. The second role is the editor. The editor's job is going to be providing markings, bowings, dynamics, articulations, tempos, all that kind of stuff to really enhance the piece and really give it that musical expression. When the recording is complete, the editor's job is also to go back and make sure that the recording accurately conveys the composition. If it doesn't, it's their job to offer feedback to the players about how they need to re-record their parts. The role of the producer is a very technical role. That person's job is to make sure all 3 parts are going to fit together, blending them either audio or visually, and setting that all up. Okay, so we got those 3 jobs. Okay, here are the composition prompts. There's 4 of them I put. First of all, it's the quarantine dance, embodying the mood of the isolated teenager with a dance. The music should elicit a movement from the audience and convey the feeling of a teenager in their homes. Whatever feeling you think of, okay? Second one is the nature walk. I've been doing a lot of those lately. So this piece embodies nature as one would view it from the perspective of a walk. The piece would have a relaxed pace and give the listener a sense of the environment the piece conveys, like bird calls or waves, or maybe you're out in your canoe. Third prompt is a chorale, inspired by our favorite book, The 36 Chorales by Aaron Cole. You would write your own chorale as a trio to convey a sense of peacefulness to the audience, using a well-known folk melody or a hymn or any other existing piece of music. And the fourth is an arrangement inspired by the work of thousands and thousands of composers on MuseScore, where people are arranging contemporary music for groups of instrumentalists. So now let's take it to your project description. Okay. For the first week, your job is to assign roles. Tell me who's the composer is right here, who's going to be the editor, and who's going to be the producer. Think about what skills you already have. Think about who's really tech savvy. Think about who's got the technology easily available to them. Or flip it. Think about who wants to practice getting those skills. Okay? The editor and the composer and the producer all have very unique positions in this project. Figure out what's going to work best for your team members. Second part of the first planning phase here is to kind of get some information. The composer needs to figure out which prompt they're going to use. Help from with collaboration, of course, from the group members. They also need to know what the group can do. What's your range? How high can you play? What sort of technical limitations does each player have? Okay. The editor is more of an investigative job this week. Take a look at some of the TED Talks that are on this list right here and try to figure out how other composers have conveyed meaning. Okay? List the TED Talks that you watched. The producer is going to have to do some exploration. The producer needs to choose and clearly communicate the method by which each group member will record their part. If everybody's going to do a video recording, or maybe they're going to do a voice recording on their phone, how's it going to work? And that is dictated by the producer. Right? The second week of the project is going to be a working phase. The composer is going to compose the piece on flat.io, just like all of our other composition assignments. Copy the link right away, right here, so that everybody can kind of track their progress, okay? While that's happening, the editor is going to go in and make sure that they are editing the parts for expressive purposes. Make sure everybody's got the same bowings, make sure everybody's got the right tempo markings, and the articulations and the dynamics that are going to support the artistic goals of the composition prompt. Producer is going to work a little bit more independently this week. They need to create their own sort of micro version of this project to test the technology. So the producer's job is to take an existing chorale and record themselves playing it using the same method as the project. All right? So basically, like I said, you're going to test the technology this week if you're the producer. Post your work here so that everybody can check in it, make sure that you know what you're doing. Okay? For the third week of the project, you're going to rehearse and rehearse and rehearse and then record. When you're done, send the recording to the producer so they can compile all three of the parts together. Put that mix right here. Okay. Now, the fourth week of the process, the composer's job is to make the score into a PDF file and share that onto our class recital page. Also, every person in the group will complete this self-evaluation. The editor will make sure that the recording matches the score. If it doesn't, give feedback to the players so that they can do their recordings better. Maybe someone didn't play forte. Maybe their staccatos weren't clear enough. Maybe they played with the wrong bowing. That's the kind of information the editor needs to provide to the group members. And the producer's job is to re-edit it if needed, and then post that recording or video to the class recital. Now, the class recital page currently looks like this. It's kind of lame. I will make it look a lot prettier by the time you get there. Each group will have one slide. Your job is to post your recording and your score on the slide so that when we have our virtual concert, our virtual recital, we'll be able to view your score and to see or hear your recording. So to summarize, our goal here is for group composing, recording to convey a common aesthetic goal. And I hope that you have a lot of fun with this project. I certainly am going to enjoy listening to you all and following along with your creative processes. As always, let me know with comments or concerns or any questions by email. Have a great day and happy composing. Take care.